Hello, everyone out there, and welcome to the Elite Racing Network for the Milwaukee 125 presented by Mark Rebilas. Joining me in the booth tonight, as always, is Jacob Adams, who will also be doing some race control duties, and Dave Huckleberry, who is also the guy that keeps all of us in line at ERN. Sorry we're kicking off a little bit late tonight. We had a little hiccup with the previous session, had to go into a new session. Qualifying is wrapping up. We got about a minute left here in qualifying. Currently, as it sits, Joshua Chin on the pole with Ethan Burrell, Weeks, Stanley, and Fody. Cars are still making laps, though. So, as we get ready to kick this off, taking a look here at our race analysis. And I can't really read any of that, Dave. If you can read it, could you say it to us?
Just the usual stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I couldn't read it there. And now it's too far away for me to see, but when it was that up a lot closer, like this right here, it just I can't read any of that. But nonetheless, it's going to be a great race in Milwaukee tonight. The guy is talking about in the pre-race here how bad these cars are driving out here tonight. Oh, and there it is. I can see it now. 70 degrees, partly cloudy, very little to no wind. Qualifying has wrapped up, and Joshua Chin has held onto the pool over Matthew Weeks, Ethan Burrell, Stanley Fody, RC, Jared Rexing, David Tooker, JP Phillips, and a Leighton Norgard there in the top 10. We are sending some guys home. When that list becomes official, I will let Jacob Adams tell you that list there.
Now the heat stuff is coming in, so we're going to have to go past the heats.
Well, we got some heat. I don't think this is actually going to be for anything. I tell you, it's been a rough one getting this lobby started tonight here boys. Jake, what are you looking forward to seeing here?
Yeah, like you said, we heard from a lot of guys that they're not really liking the setup, but then again, that can really be a good race to watch. Everybody trying to manhandle the car and see what they can get out of it.
Yeah, and we talked about this race a little bit at the end of last week. Looking forward to coming here. This is a place that was on the NASCAR schedule. Then NASCAR went away from here for a while. I don't believe they've been. Are they racing here now still? Is it just the trucks maybe? But this place has been on the IndyCar schedule for a long time. So Dave, what do you think we're going to see tonight here at Gateway with these stock cars?
Oh, I think they'll probably have a lot of cautions. I just think this track kind of lends itself to that. They'll kind of slide around and probably bang into each other. Engines are probably a little high now that we've had a couple of mess ups in starting, and now we get to watch this heat race, which is going to be head-to-head Kendall Noah Player versus Michael Good.
And I believe, has this place had a repave and we're on the old version, correct?
No, I don't think so.
Not 100% sure on that.
I think the track is still the same as it was. So I think most of the improvements they made to get IndyCar back were on the outside of the track.
And we do see that paved strip down there. Not sure if the Sims got that, but this place is going to be a place right around the bottom. I am curious to see what the curb is going to do down on the bottom of the racetrack, because this race means nothing. This is just a formality. 3 laps here. As you see, Kendall Noah Player and Michael Goodman.
Yeah, we were talking about the official list of cars going home. Unfortunately, includes these 2 cars, and then the 99 of Mark Rebilas and the 30 of Connor Thompson. Those 4 guys will unfortunately not make it tonight.
Well, nonetheless, they will get to see themselves on the broadcast, racing for this win, seeing what happens here. Hopefully, they put on a good show. This might be the best show we see all race. I am curious. You see right here, I'm curious if anybody will be able to run down there on the apron, or if that's a no-no. Once these tires start wearing and you have trouble getting up out of the corner, it might be beneficial to drive down there, put your right sides on that curb.
Yeah, somebody might try it, but I tell you, listen to these guys in the race lobby here. Our jobs might not be safe. We've got Harry Talon making a pretty good call of this this heat race going on?
Yeah, I'm hearing it. It sounds pretty great. I think they should come for our job. We'll do a swap. We'll swap Ethan. Ethan can come up here and we'll drive his race car. What do you think?
If I can jump in the 37 and run as well as he does, then maybe I'll be up for it. But I don't think I'm putting that 37 anywhere near where Ethan is tonight.
And Goody's going to win a race here. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
but I
we
think
talked
we
about
might
it
be able to
doesn't
get
mean anything, but we've got do-goods on a roll here. We've got Dusty Dewar won a truck race a week ago, and
he's doing donuts. He didn't have time for an interview.
Oh, we got time. We got time. They got to grid up. We got all the time in the world. And right now, as they are gridding up, we are getting ready to run a race, but we did bring you that 3-lap feed.
Whoop, whoop.
Goody, we don't get a chance to talk to you a lot, so we wanted to let you come up here, give you the floor for like 15, 20 seconds, talk to us about everything that's going on with you and who helps get it done for you week in, week out.
Well, tonight was not a good night for me to get anything done besides that little heat win, which I was kind of hoping Kendall was going to get in the back of me there. That would have been pretty fun. But yeah, I'd like to thank Miss Goodies Goodies as always, Mom. I know you're watching, or Dad probably watching too, and won't be able to race tonight here, unfortunately. But hopefully that JD's Hilltop Salvage Chevrolet Camaro gets up to the front and makes some noise here tonight.
Yeah, we'll see what happens tonight in this race, and you missed the race, so feel free to come up here, talk to us anytime you want about the strategy or about these guys doing a bad job. Hopefully they don't, though. Hopefully we don't get a whole lot of yellows, and always nice to shout out Mrs. Goodies Goodies. I think she has been a part of Elite for as long as I have, so never pass up an opportunity to talk about those hooded towels and handmade items.
Hell yeah! Way to go, Mama. She's recovering from a knee surgery right now. Hopefully she's having a good day with that. But I see the grid's already rolling here. Let's hopefully these boys put on a good show here tonight.
All right. Thanks for coming up here and talking to us, Goody, and we'll see you on the racetrack next week.
Yep, you bet.
Well, this field is rolling around. We are getting ready to go green, as we talked about. Josh Chin, a little bit of a surprise pool winner. Real quick, Jake, who you got to win the race tonight?
Let's see. I'm gonna take RC. He's making his return. He's taking a couple of weeks off. We're gonna take RC Anderson to be in victory lane tonight.
All right. What about you, Dave? Who you got?
I'll take Matthew Weeks to lock himself in.
There we go. And I will take Scott Crump. Green is out. They are heading through turn 1 and 2. A little bit of a stack up on the bottom. I believe someone missed a gear. But nonetheless, everybody took care of each other there. Heading down the backstretch for the first time. Heading into turn 3. Everybody fighting for that bottom side. There's just a couple cars inside the top 10 still running around the top. They come off of turn 4. And I'm hoping, as we pass pit road for the first time, I want to see some green flag stops out here tonight. Josh Chin misses the corner a little bit. That's going to open the door for Weeks. A little bit of a mistake out of Josh Chin. He doesn't typically, well, we've talked about him running better and better. But to come out here and take the pole away from these boys, I think that's quite a surprise to a lot of these guys out here tonight.
Yeah, we've been talking about Mr. Chen recently. He had the run at Laguna City. He was going to finish top 5 last week at Texas. Unfortunately, had the late race run in with I believe that was Gerald last week, and ultimately ended up parking it. But there's nothing better a good qualifying run and even a pole can do for you to go and run this race.
That's right, a good qualifying run cures all. And right now I'm going to tell you, John Cutlip has been trying to make this 3-wide move, and he's finally going to be able to make it back here in the pack. He qualified a little poor tonight. Hunter Smith finally just backed out of that 3-wide spot, left it for Ty, and now here's Frank Fody looking to do the same thing, pulling up underneath that 54. Maybe they're not seeing him real well out there tonight with all that camo in his car.
Yeah, I believe we've been talking about cut-lip qualifying inside the top 5 just about every week. So now that he's outside the top 15 here, how patient is he going to be trying to make his way to the front?
I feel like typically John's pretty patient. In previous seasons he has qualified poor a lot and then just showed up there about mid-pack. And so this is nothing new, maybe new for this season. But looking back through the field, we still have some throwbacks. Chad Frankenfield qualified out back tonight. Josh Adams missed the race last week. Oh, contact from Ty. Ty gets hit by Frank Fody, moved up the track. I think he stopped just short of hitting the wall, but he's going to bleed spots there. Still trying to get it gathered up. Ty can be pretty hard to pass, and Frank said, I'm not going to put up with that this early in the race. Go ahead, buddy. I'm going to take this pass in a corner. Chad Frankenfield drives across the curb.
Drove across that. You were wondering if they were going to get down there after the tires wear out. He's ready to jump over it 5 laps into this race.
Yeah, that thing was two-wheeling down there. But as I was saying, Chad didn't qualify good. He still got the throwback out this week after he did not have quite the run he wanted to last week. And another guy, like I mentioned there, Josh Adams, did not make the race last week, so his throwback never seen the light of day. Well, here it is at Milwaukee. His Stacker 2 Kenny Wallace throwback, as you see right here. He qualified pretty poor tonight. I believe he was one of the last guys that actually made the show as he's sitting in there behind that 24. There's Ty McIntosh right there in front of him. Scott Crump back there as well. So these guys are going to have to be pretty patient. You can tear your stuff up here pretty quick. And this might drive like a short track, but I can guarantee you if you get some damage out here tonight, it is going to hurt that straightaway speed.
I tell you, Josh is somebody, he's in desperate need of a good run. He's had a terrible season so far in this series, well outside in the points. I don't really think a win is going to do him much good. He just needs to go out and have some good runs.
Well, I'm sure you're closer to Josh than any of us. Does this stuff, this series, keep him up at night?
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody's worried about the series keeping him up at night. But I mean, I could tell you if I was running 40th in points, I probably wouldn't be too happy with myself. I wouldn't really, want to show up and qualify 30th and ride around the back. Because we got one sideways. Chad from the outside wall.
The 66 is involved. Caution is out on lap 9. We saw Chad being really aggressive there earlier, driving across the curb. Let's see what happens here. Ooh, Chad just... The 20 slid up, but I don't think Chad was quite as low as he thought he was right here. Kind of just drives into his left rear. Gets hit back to the 15. I don't think there's a whole lot of damage on that 15 machine. Just very unfortunate. Just very unfortunate to coming together there. Chad probably thought he was a little bit lower than he was, but when they initially made contact, they were both pretty high up in that paved lane. And we've seen Chad, he's been trying to make this pass, and so you get a little bit frustrated. Chad drives down into the corner, but he still made the corner better than that 20 did. The 20 did slide up a little bit, but Chad just, at the point of contact there, they're still pretty high. Chad was driving down the track, but it's very unfortunate there. I don't think anybody's got major damage. I think everybody's going to be able to continue on. They both sit there right next to each other on pit road. Ain't that how it goes? Josh Chin still out front. Matthew Weeks, Ethan Morrell. Ethan Stanley still driving his Dario Franchitti throwback. Tyler Fody right in there behind him. RC back there. Got Jared Rexing, not in the throwback. That's his every week scheme. David Tooker. JP Phillips right there in the 38 machine. Then you got Justin Wadsworth. We talk about this car every week. Driving for a cause. Hopefully this week they can get the finish that they they want, and he can come up here and talk to us a little bit about the hospital. Gerald Campbell right back there, Tom Bourne. There's John Cutlip, Tyler Pop back in here. All these guys trying to get track position, trying not to lose it. We're going to have another restart here. I believe Jake made a call there, or possibly a no call there. Jake, you want to talk to us about what just happened?
Yeah, so I ruled it a racing incident. But we all saw Gavin kind of go in and get to the bottom and then miss the bottom, and Chad tried to roll under him. Chad did lift considerably to try not to run him over, so that's just going to be a racing incident.
There you go, racing incident. The pace car is going to make that left-hand turn. We are going to get the green flag back out. Everybody taking off. I don't believe anybody pitted right here. Still on the tires that started the race on. Head down for turn 1 once again. Ethan Burrell looks like he might get weak. Tom Bourne sideways. He's going to save it down there. He's in that lane. I asked if anybody would explore, but not intentionally.
You want to get down there if it's your own cause. You don't want somebody else making that decision for you.
Well, somebody's got to clean it off, right? It's got to happen by accident a time or two. Get it cleaned off down there.
Yeah, maybe whoever hit him, that was their goal. They don't want to go down and clean it off themselves.
Kind of like running the top. You don't want to be the first guy to the wall. Now, I have no issues being the first guy to the wall. I think we all know that, but you kind of want to let other people wear it out. As Michael Hosick is real high there off of turn 2. Got passed by 5 cars, maybe 6 cars. He's still in the top of 3 wide here, heading for turn 3. That 24 machine is really struggling back here. He's trying to, I talked about trying to run the very bottom. He's trying to dust off about 5 lanes up. I don't think I've ever seen that work at Milwaukee. That restart worked out really good for Josh Adams being on the bottom.
Yeah, Hosick finally got down to the bottom. He's going to try and settle in and see if he can't make some hay from now. But yeah, no, you definitely don't want to be the first guy running the wall here at Milwaukee. If you're the first guy running the wall at Milwaukee, more than likely you probably got sent up there because somebody's tired of you being slow in front of them.
Yeah, I don't think you'd want to be any guy running it by the wall at Milwaukee. As right now, John Cutlip's stuck on the top. And he's going to run pretty high, give a lot of room. Now, that's no surprise, John giving a lot of room. He knows he doesn't want to get hit. He knows how easy it is to miss the corner. He gets the run off of turn 2. Doesn't take the dive back.
Oh, we've got contact back in the pack. Scott Crump and Jesse Racimus.
Looks like it all cleared itself up. Johnny Thomas right back there in that too. The big red right there. New dad 10 days ago. Talked to him a little bit in the pre-race. He said everything's going good. She's sleeping at night. Everything is just going great right now for him. Here goes Tate Lytle. Big move out of line on Frank Bodie. Frank was, I talked to a lot of guys pre-race. Frank's another guy I talked to. He was real excited about tonight too. He was bragging about his tire wear. He had a little bit better tire wear over the course of a long run than the other Fody. So he was really looking forward to this race, getting it going, and previous winner in the series, last time out at Talladega, Frank was able to get that win.
Yeah, I got running this season in the ARCA series a little late. Didn't get to do the full season, but Frank is a guy out there in the ARCA series. He's really good at being around when the tires are wearing. So if this does go green, and he can bring any of that knowledge from saving his tires with the ARCA car over to here, I would expect to see him start driving towards the front later.
And I'm going to tell you, too, Frank, from when he first joined Elite and first started racing to now, has improved so much. And he's still got a long ways to go, and Frank will be the first one to tell you that. But Tyler has done such a great job bringing on that young group of drivers, and I know that I'm obviously over there to see it in the truck series side of things and get to hear about the goings-ons, but what he has done with that crop of drivers that he has brought into the league, you're talking about Dylan and Mitch, and right there's one of them, the 57, trying to make that pass, running right there with Frank. All these guys that he has brought along and is trying to improve and trying to make better. It's not just him saying, hey, I want him to be better. Hey, we're doing, like, Tyler sits down with them, talks to them all the way through a practice session. He's like, hey, this is what you need to try. You need to do this. I think that is one of the most underrated things that Tyler Fode has done that nobody's talking about, is the way that he has helped this young crop of drivers and helping them get better and trying to make them winners. And we've already seen it on the roadside. They run really strong on the roadside, and
it's always good anytime there can be a good young up-and-coming driver coming up that can eventually take it to the big guys. But getting back to Frank for a second, if there is one advantage that he has coming in, a little older, obviously, the father of Tyler, he's coming in with a lot of finesse, and he's going to want to get his car to the end. And he's not going to be as cagey as some of these younger guys that want to just go to the front right away. He's going to try and use his life experience and slow the race down and be there at the end.
And I'll tell you, we talked about him qualifying bad, but Tate Lytle, John Cutlett, they are moving forward very patiently, very smart, just like you would expect them to do. 2 veterans of the series, 2 veterans of Elite, 2 great fast drivers. I would imagine they're both probably going to be guys we talk about here towards the end of this race.
Scott Crump's another one of them. He qualified poorly. He's running 24th right now. I was watching the qualifying results, actually, and he was, up until about a minute and a half left in the session, he was 45th. So he had his back against the wall to even get in this lobby, and he's trying to start making his way to the front now.
Contact. The 35 into the back of the 15. And we've got another caution. Not sure what happened here. Oh. Did I say 35? It looked like a 35 a little bit, but it was a 95. I believe that is Robert Hill. A little bit of contact. Oof. Well, I think that's an easy one to call for the admin, as the 15 gets... We get the caution there for the 15 spinning, sliding, coming to a stop.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked to even see a caution right there. I mean, it's kind of really just like a lazy slide up out of the groove after the contact.
And we got pit stops. Josh Chin's bringing down a big group of guys here. Got a whole bunch of stops. Tyler Fode stayed out. Jared Rexing, Ethan Stanley, Gerald Campbell, Tyler Pop. This is a good old mixed bag. I think we've got about 10 or 15 guys that have stayed out here. This is going to make for great stuff. And I think we'll go ahead and take our first commercial break of the race right here. What do you guys think? Stick with us on the other side of this break, and we'll bring you the restart from Milwaukee.
3 years of sellout crowds, 3 years of edge-of-your-seat action, 3 years of jaw-dropping finishes. Worldwide Technology Raceway has rocked the world of NASCAR, and now NASCAR is giving us another reason to celebrate. The 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Championship Playoffs are coming. Sunday, September 7th, 2025. Just when you thought the racing couldn't get any more intense, now every single lap matters. One wrong move could be the difference between elimination and being crowned the king. The Enjoy Illinois 300, the Confluence Music Festival, the NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs, and for the first time in 15 years, the NASCAR Xfinity Series on Saturday, September 6th. Don't be on the outside looking in. See history being made in your own backyard. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year.
And welcome back to Milwaukee, where the green flag is about to fly, and we've got a mixed bag of strategy. Our first 13 cars did not pit. Tyler Fode on down to Dustin Dewar. 14. Kyle Henshaw. Josh Chin will restart 15th. Richard Hines is going to restart 16th. I believe he was 2 tires or just passed through. Green is fixing to come out. I think we're fixing to see some craziness taking place here on this restart. Green is out. Great getaway for the guys up here towards the front. Dustin Dewar going 3 wide heading for turn 1.
Oh, we've got one way out of line. It's the 87.
Yeah, I don't understand staying out when you're going to pull up out of the way. I think that is one of those things that if you're just going to go to the back, pass through pit road. You can pass through pit road without getting tires. Don't put yourself out there in harm's way and other people's cars and at risk of getting wrecked.
Big wide move by Chen going around Dewar and Pocock.
Oh, wrecking in the back. Big wreck here in the back. I see the 45. Not sure what happened here. Taking
Looks
a
like
look
a
back.
self-spin by Ultra, maybe.
Well, I just looked ahead. I don't think it's going to be a self-spin. Oh, he does start on his own. Yeah. The 8. Wow, great job by Josh Robin. And then the 3 gets in there. There's Ty. There's Harry. No major damage, though, as Brandon Ultra goes around. So how does this work with the strategy? Is this good for the guys that stayed out or not good for the guys that stayed out, Jake?
I think it's gonna probably end up being good for the guys that did pit. So eventually, if we do run far enough again, it's gonna flip. But
It will
this
be
might
interesting.
just be though where we get the rash of caution. So hopefully not.
It will be interesting. What I would like to take an opportunity to do, if we didn't have time to right there, so we went back to green as soon as we came back. I want to give out to shout out to all our sponsors. Blue Egg Marketing, rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customer. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand toward victory lane. Don't spin your wheels. Accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small business to win big. And then, of course, Worldwide Technology Raceway. They are the former Gateway International Raceway in Gateway Motorsports Park. Is a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis. Close to the Gateway Arch, it features a 1.25 mile oval. Excuse me, let me say that. It features a 1.25 mile oval that hosts the NASCAR Cup, Truck, and the NTT IndyCar Series. A 2-mile infield road course used by Speed Tour, Trans Am, SCCA, and Porsche Club of America. A 1/4 mile NHRA sanctioned drag strip that hosts the annual NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series. And the Midwest Nationals event, the Kartplex, a state-of-the-art karting facility. So shout out to all our great sponsors here who help us get it done. And of course, the series is the Mark Rebilas Photography Series. Unfortunately, Mark did not make the race tonight as the green comes back out once again. We head down for turn 1. Another pretty good restart there. Nothing too crazy. Oh, Tate Lytle's way up the track. A little bit of contact down into turn 1. I spoke too soon about getting away clean. David took her back there.
Do we think Mark's around one of these corners taking some pictures for us, or did he leave the facility? Anybody know?
Well, I don't know. I'm sure he's somewhere.
Somebody said he was in the other lobby running laps.
Mark's a hard guy to reach, I'll tell you that. Yeah, it's hard to reach Mark when he doesn't want to be bothered. As right now, back here in the mid-pack, we're right where the new tires meet the old tires. There's a whole lot of craziness going on as Josh Chen makes a big 3-wide move under Frank, under Gerald. Gotta leave him a little bit of room down there. They leave just enough. Heading down here.
Gerald, we saw Gerald have the best run of his season last week at Atlanta. Unfortunately, ended not the way he would have wanted, but still showed up with speed last week. He's running the top 10 again.
And Gerald had a good run in the trucks last night, too, for those of you who tuned in.
Oh, Josh Chen pushing the 54 car up out of the way.
He's been pretty patient to this point. Don't want to throw all that out the window here. Back in the mid-pack, David Tooker is bleeding spots right now. He keeps being the odd man out. As they're 3 wide, here comes Ethan Burrell. Looking 3 wide underneath Frank, underneath Gerald. This restart has really not worked out for some of these guys the way that they would have wanted it to. And it's most of the guys who were on the high side. And for those of you who do not know, here on iRacing, there is no choose cone. So if you're odd, you're on the bottom. If you're even, you're on the top. So we might see some games getting played later based on how you don't want to be on the top. You'd rather be on the bottom. David Tooker is really backed up. He's got Johnny Thomas in front of him on the top. They're finally getting single filed out. Ooh, 32 driving across the grass just a little bit, looking for some grip. I don't know how much grip we're going to find in the grass, but old Dusty's looking for it down there, looking for grip anywhere he can find it. Taking a look here, there's Tate and Scott. Scott, I believe, chose to stay out. Tate came and got tires. And I think it's a good move for both. I think Scott staying out from where he was is probably a good move. Tate pitting from where he was. You know, sometimes different calls can be the right move based on where you're running.
Yeah, I'm starting to watch some guys that were on the opposite end that stayed out fall into the back. Frank Fode's losing spots. So we've mentioned Tooker's losing spots.
Hunter Smith right there. We've seen him backing up. Josh Chin's up here getting ready to try to take the lead back, as there's a big cluster back here in the mid-pack as well. There's Josh Chin, Ethan Stanley. He's got Lake Norman right now. The Lake Norman Brigade out in front of him. No contest here for Ethan Stanley. Stuck on the top. Josh Chin's got the preferred lane. Great looking car for Stanley. Drives back down there, gets on that curb. Wrecking in the back, wrecking in the back. The 3 car, the 60, the 71, the 46. 46 heavy damage, 51 with heavy damage. I believe it might have started with Josh Robin. He just took blame. Ooh, just in there, just a little bit deep. Turns that 3 car around. This is where the 71's going to get involved. The 60. The 60 is going to get hit. Oh, Chad Frankenfield barely sneaking by. Here comes the 46. And then here comes the 51. Somehow that shot in the back of the 51, from the 51 to the 46, the shot in the back broke the hood. Not sure how that happened, what kind of physics we're working with there, but that was odd. Oh, Harrison. We're sorry, Harrison. We went back far enough back to see you hit the wall off a 4.
So we've got more guys coming to pit road. I've got Scott Crump coming to pit road, Jesse Racimas, Frank Fode.
I think it's all the guys who stayed out on the first caution, right? For the most part.
Looks about that way. To see Tyler Pop down there, Gerald Campbell, Stanley and Fode. Both Fodes.
So now we get to wait and see, as we're still taking a look at this accident. This Kyle Hanshaw, major damage there on the belly up machine. Great looking car. You can see a little bit out the left side, enough where the grass is. Just driving it around. Yeah, you see, just run right against the grass. Use that grass to get to... Now, pit entry might be a different story. Taking a look here at Kyle. Pit entry could be really hard to find. He needs a driver coach there for pit entry. That's right. That's how you do it right there. You don't even pit. Don't even pit. Well, I don't think you missed it. I think he's like, you know what? I see enough. We don't have an extra set of tires to use. I see enough to see. I think Denny Hamlin made a lap one time at Sonoma like this. Here they come around the pit lane again. Oh, here he comes. He's going to come down. So, see, he was just waiting for it to be open. Gets her down there, lays on the brakes. There she falls forward. Oh, look at that. Little flat. All it took was hitting the brakes one good time. Well, now we're about to restart here. With all the guys that stayed out back in the traffic, all the guys who pitted under the first caution up at the front. We get to see what's happening again here with this mixed bag. Pace car turns onto pit road. Green is out. Josh Chen gets away. Ooh, a big stack up on the bottom side there. Very lucky to get away from that restart clean. Taking a look back through here, we will have to keep an eye on Tyler Fody and all those guys. They're restarting, I believe, around 25th. Yeah, Tyler Fody's 25th. So, got quite a ways to go. And Fody's trying to pass 4 of them at once, 4 wide into 3. And Fody's going to make... Fody and Stanley just passed about 6 guys down into turn 3. Absolutely incredible. Went down in there on the inside of 4 wide. And just shuffle through. Here he goes again. We're going to go 4 wide again. Ty's not giving him a whole lot of room on that bottom. 5 wide maybe. They might be 5 wide here off of 4 or off of 2. All take, no give right here from what I'm seeing, Jake. What are you seeing?
Yeah.
Contact. 55 turns sideways. The 70. Chad
around.
Frankenfield. Dustin Dewar. The 57.
Oh no, the
round.
95 turns the 9. Gerald Campbell's over.
Oh, big wreck here on the front stretch. Scott Crump's down there in it. Oh, my goodness gracious. We got multiple wrecks going on here at the same time. Here's the first incident. And Chad drives down here and sees the second incident. So let's take a look here. The 95 comes down a little bit. Oh, 95 gets loose, catches the 9, the 00, the 05. There's the 20. Frank does a great job. Frank does an absolute great job getting around that wreck. You'll see the 95 get loose, go out of shot. Gerald thinks he's going to get through. And then Gerald's ping pong. Well, this is what everybody said that they thought we were going to see in the pre-race. All the drivers I talked to said the same thing. And now we're seeing it. That 9 car trying to creep around here to pit road. I mean, that thing is broke. That 9 car is... I don't think they're going to be able to fix that one. What exactly do you guys think is broke with that car? I'll ask you, Dave. It's pretty messed up. I'm kudos to Jay for getting that thing around there as knocked out as that thing was. I mean, that's a rough ride right there. That looks like something you'd see on the dirt track, maybe. You know, you see that rolled out at Eldora in one of those late models. It's leaned heavily over on that left front. And they go to work here on this J machine. Unfortunate right there. As the field lines up again, we are at 1 to go. Total chaos has ensued around here. I mean, I thought we were settling in for a good race, a clean race, and everything was going good. We had that one caution, but we had a couple good green flag runs that I thought might, actually keep going. And all of a sudden, I'm going to tell you what, the guy that's having a rough go of it, Chad Frankenfield, has already been a part of 3 incidents. We're not even 50 laps into this thing yet. That's not it's not a good ratio to have.
We get the call on that incident?
I think Jake might still be working.
Type
There
it.
was a couple.
Sorry, I had a phone call. But no, we had a tally right there on the 95 as his second tally, but have been informed he will be appealing at least one, so he will stay out there running around.
Well, what about the incident that brought the caution out? Any tally there?
We've got Josh Adams getting turned around by Tyler Fody.
And he saves it. Josh ain't going to be happy with that, I don't think. But was there any call for the incident that brought the caution out, Jake?
Yeah, that one that actually brought the caution out going into turn 3, that was ruled a racing incident. I don't have it up anymore, but there's 2 cars that came together and unfortunately crashed. But definitely tally on 95 for the second crash.
Now, we were talking in the pre-race, and you said you might need to go get a second pin. Have you went and gotten that second pin?
I am taking this first one. It's just about out of ink.
Well, hopefully these guys can run green for a while, as they are 3 wide, and the aggression level is through the roof out here. By everybody, too. It's not just one guy being aggressive. I mean, you would think you told these guys there was 20 to go, 20 laps ago, and it's time to just have green-white checkers or something.
Well, they've got a stage coming to an end right now, but that doesn't give us any reason why the guys outside the top 20 should be, racing as hard and wrecking how they are.
So the stage ends right here at lap 50?
Yep.
Well, we got Josh Chin winning the stage, Burrell, Tate Lytle, RC, Matthew Weeks, Justin Wadsworth, Cutlip, Rexing, and Tooker with Hunter Smith are your top 10. So stage points awarded to those front 10. Field heads down for turn 3. Tyler Pop trying to pass the 38, trying to follow the Lake Norman duo, who have been pretty aggressive since the restart. I know Josh did not appreciate getting ran over. I heard him voice his displeasure, but not overly voice his displeasure. That tells me that Josh going to keep that one in his back pocket. As RC's having some kind of equipment failure. Something's wrong with his screen. RC is having some kind of screen failure. Going to bleed all that track position that he has fought hard to get. So he's just going to have to get that problem situated and do it all again. But nonetheless, RC went from running inside the top 5, top 7 to all the way at the back. Taking a look back through the field here, you see the 13 running that 25 car up the racetrack just a little bit. You see the 40 and the 91 also trying to work their way through this traffic. And I know Josh Adams is probably going to stay out on another caution later, probably going to flip this track position at some point. I have a feeling he's going to let that 40 car know what he thought about that move if he gets the opportunity. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, we've already made the point that it's basically a lost season for Josh already. So, I mean, I guess I wouldn't be too shocked if maybe he did return the favor. I wouldn't, not advocating for it at all, but
I will. I want all the chaos. I want all the crazy. Give me that spoon. I'll give it a big old stir.
But no, I would not be shocked in the slightest. I will say, Josh still does owe Fody a little bit for a certain championship race at Phoenix that Tyler took away from him a few seasons ago, and that one still hasn't come back around. But and I can definitely tell you, Josh hasn't forgotten about that race.
Yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. Josh is going to have to find a way to get around him. And the best place for that might be lap traffic. Might be Josh getting lapped at some point and taking a swing that way. But Obviously, I am in no place to judge. I have done it. I have taken a swipe at a guy. But I do have a little bit of a coach. You get one shot. Make it count. If you're going to do something intentional, make it count. You get one shot. If you mess up that first shot, you don't get it done right. You only took one. You only get one because they only took one to get you more often than not.
We've got Stanley moving back past Tooker. That's for 8th place. Tyler's trying to follow through. He's gotten past Tom Bourne for 10th. Tyler Pop trying to come by Tom Bourne for 11th.
Yeah, these guys are trying to work their way forward as quick as they can. That's why they're being so aggressive, because they know they've got to use this tire advantage while they've got it. You never know when the next caution's coming. We've went far enough where I would guess everybody is probably going to be in or pretty close to the fuel window when the caution comes out now. So the next time they go to pit road might be the last time. But based on the tire wear we're seeing, I don't think that'll be the case. Seems like there is quite a bit of tire wear out here, quite a bit of tire fall off. I believe everybody's still got 2 sets laying in the pits, so you do want a set for late in the race for that caution, that 10 to go maybe, so we shall see how this shakes out. As right now it is still Josh Chin over Ethan Burrell, Tate Lytle, Jared Rexon, Weeks, Cutlip. Stanley's made his way up to 7th. Wadsworth getting ready to give up the 8th position to teammate and owner Tyler Fody, with David Tooker right there. Tyler Pop behind him, just outside the top 10. We'll have to see how all this shakes out. These other guys, I don't want to speak on it too soon, but I feel like pretty close to that pit window opening to make it to the end. We might see some of these guys on older tires short pit. They've only got about 30 laps left in the tank, those guys who pitted on that first caution. So this could be a scenario where we might see green flag stop start here in the next 5 to 10 laps or so. And guys trying to pit right on the front side of that run maximize their time on fresh tires, because tire fall off seems like it's a pretty big deal tonight.
Yeah, I'm on board with short pitting at a place like a 1.5-mile, 2-mile track. I've always been hesitant to do the short pitting strategy on a 1-mile short track. So, you know, there can be a caution at any point. Obviously, there can be a caution at any point on any track, but just that caution percentage chance is heightened here at Milwaukee, and you don't want to get yourself a lap down and have to try and fight back from a lap down.
Yeah, I agree that it's harder to do, but at the same time, you'll get the most benefit at these smaller tracks, because that's where the tire fall off seems the worst. So you're gonna, we've already seen the guys that pitted on the last caution already having over a second of fall off. So you're talking about, if you short pit, you're probably going to be running a second and a half or 2 seconds quicker than everybody else. And so while you do give up more ground and more laps than you do at a place like a Pocono or a Michigan or some of those other 1.5 miles, you're also running quite a bit quicker because you're using the tires more at these places where you've got a lot of brake, and these flat corners, you're really leaning hard on the right side tires. And that's another thing, we might be able to see some 2-tire stops at some point if the situation plays out.
Heck of a battle going on for 3rd place. I saw Jared Rexon just make the pass on Tate Lytle on the outside for 3rd. You saw those guys have some contact a few weeks ago at Auto Club for the win. This time around, and no contact was made. Jared's going to make the pass and go and start working on Ethan Burrell for 2nd.
Yeah, and coming right behind them are the Lake Norman duo who pitted on the last caution. Tag teaming their way through here like they're DX. Knocking people out of the way. We've seen it a few times, being super aggressive. We'll see what happens as they get to the back of John here. And that's a lot of Pro Edge guys, so I have a feeling if you get into the 5, the 11's going to make it quite a bit tougher on you. Get into the 11, then you got to deal with the 56. You get into the 56, 37's still out there, so These are passes you're going to want to make clean, smooth, and get on about your business. And I mentioned earlier, John giving a lot of room to the inside car. You see the trust he has in Ethan Stanley staying off of him as he runs quite a bit closer to Stanley than he was early in the race to some of those guys back there.
But we've seen quite often this season where we have strategy races, whether it be fuel mileage or tire usage, and it's kind of starting to play out again right here. We had the rash of cautions, field split in half on 2 different strategies. And is this the one where, we don't have the caution come out, and the guys that are on the old tires going to be hoping they do get the caution to equal back out as Ethan Stanley gets closer and closer to coming up here and taking the lead?
Well, one thing we've talked about is if you feel like you're giving up too much time, you could pit. We are inside of 60 to go. I am not sure what the fuel window is exactly, but based on those other guys pitting and being about halfway through a fuel run, I would say we are right at or very near the window. So we will see how this all shakes out. As there's just on your screen was a log jam. Log jam with contact now. 38 got into the back of that 25 back there.
Yeah, I can tell you from hearing from the Stacker 2 machine with Josh, he's got a pit here about 23 laps, so that should be a good gauge to track up everybody else that's on the same strategy as Josh.
Well, speaking of talking to drivers and understanding what's going on, what does it tell you when you see a line of cars behind one car with a gap in front of it at some of these shorter tracks?
Yeah, it tells me that car that is holding the guys up, they're probably going quite a bit slower. And if you're, third, fourth in line, you're kind of just waiting on that faster car to get that guy up out of the way, and kind of just let the entire line go. Kind of like what we saw at Coda this past weekend with Kyle Busch holding up that line of 4 cars, and as soon as he got past, everybody drove away from him as we got a caution on the track.
And that kills any strategy. I don't see anything on the racetrack. Not sure who that was, where it was. But nonetheless, we got a caution. That's going to end all the strategy talk. As it was the 60 there, spinning out of turn 4. So we've seen the same kind of guy. Caleb, that's a couple of them he's been involved in that 60 machine. So I feel like it's the same guys, Jake, that keep getting involved in these incidents. So their night just keeps getting worse.
Yeah, when we heard the caution, not necessarily saying he would have been the cause of it, but I went immediately to look at the 15 because it seems like we've been talking about the 15 being right in the middle of a lot of these this race already.
Yeah, it will be interesting. One thing to take note of here is we have one car staying out. No strategy whatsoever does that make any sense. Should be a great, exciting car that stays out here. I can't wait to see what we're going to be talking about here in the next couple laps after this restart. And can we look at that Kale machine again? That spin, Dave?
Sure.
Did he have any help? He didn't have any help, did he?
Nope, didn't look like it.
Yeah, there we go. So there we go. I was just asked if he had any help. I don't, maybe a gust of wind on that left rear. Just spins out, clips that inside wall. We are 1 to green. Well, we are half a lap away from the restart. Jake, why don't you talk to us a little bit about the strategy call here for the Stacker 2 machine?
He's clearing a black flag at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out. I mean, maybe
Yeah,
we get a caution.
I don't think. I don't know. We talked about it earlier. There might not be much strategy to this maneuver, but I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I can't wait to watch, though. How long is it going to be before Fody gets to him? Fody's in row 4. Green flag is out. He gets a great launch. Takes off pretty good. Now, what he doesn't want to get trapped on is the bottom. I mean, they're going to be able to pass. He's got to make sure he can get to the middle. All he does, as we head for turn 3. Oh, the 37 gets into the back of him. The 11's around. The 23's around. Unfortunate there. The 23 got turned by staying out. And we'll see it here as they head down the back stretch. 37 just and then they make contact there with the 11. Just unfortunate there. They both back up into the wall. Luckily, that was only 2 cars. And that is on the follow car to take care. That strategy call might not have been a good call. I'll tell you, it wasn't a good call. I'll go ahead and say it right now. It was a terrible call. But that follow car has got to take care of the lead. Like Ethan knew he was on old tires. You got to be ready for that. Can't just drive through a guy because you don't want to give up a spot to other guys on the same tires you're on. And unfortunately, Ethan's probably done a good bit of damage to his nose as hard as that hit was as well. So that's not going to be ideal for his race either. You kind of... Sometimes it's better to give up a spot or two than it is to mess your car up. But nonetheless, we got a caution. Matthew Weeks going to be pretty upset, I'm sure. I thought we were getting ready to see something exciting there between the 40 and the 23, but wasn't allowed to happen. And through all of that, Ethan Stanley made his way to 4th. Worked out well for him. There's Chad Frankenfield leaving pit road, still fixing some damage. I think Chad's finally got his car cleaned up. And he's ready to go. But real quick before we go green here, Jake, do you have any calls here from this last caution? Or I don't think you made a call with the previous caution either.
Well, the previous caution was a self-spin on the 60. This one, I don't know. I'm still watching it. I see both cars basically go to the brakes at the same time. Unfortunately, Josh has the older tires, and I don't really think I can put much fault on really either car right there. Josh had the tire disadvantage. Everybody knew that, but at the same time, I believe they went to the brakes at the same time.
I'll tell you my opinion. I'm not afraid to tell you my opinion. I think it's on the follow car not to hit the car in front of him. And, it was no surprise. Josh was there the whole straightaways. That's my take on it, but you are race control. I am not. Green is back out. Ooh, Tate turns right down across that 10 machine there into turn 3. Josh Chang gets away. Very, very important for Tate to get to that bottom side there to keep Jared behind him. Fody gets around the 91 machine. Moves him into P4. And we'll see what Jared thinks about that move that the 56 made into 3. It looked like he was driving in pretty deep there. But all is well. I think if he was going to take a shot, he would have taken it right there. Back through the field here, seeing a lot of craziness. And I believe a call was made on that last incident, Jake.
Yeah, so
Officially.
my official ruling is just a racing incident. So I believe watching it, both cars go to the brakes at the same time. While I do agree it's the trailing car to take care of the car ahead, just like I said, the difference in tires, but watching it, they both went to the brakes at the same time, so I couldn't really consciously hand blame to either car.
But as we sit here and run, there you see RC. We saw him have his issues earlier, trying to claw his way back forward. And now, really no strategy games left to be played. Unless we get a caution around that 90 or 95, you might be able to do a little bit of opposite strategy. But as Hunter and Frank back there going at it. Oh, the 70's tagged and he's around. Comes back up the racetrack. Big accident down here in turn 3. The 70's down there. The 45 is down there. Oh, they're trying to roll away. And man, you have got to sit there until guys go by. You cannot move until everybody gets around you. That's one of my biggest pet peeves on the sim. You sit there until the field goes by. Do not pull down across traffic as the 57 gets into the 70, comes up, the 45, the 3. And then this right here, like all these guys driving away and running into other cars coming through, like that is just a total lack of awareness. You have got to be aware enough to not be driving across traffic when you're the cars that are wrecked, because everybody else has picked a lane, they see where you're sitting, and they're going around you, and I get it. Look, there's one car left coming. But good Lord. Sit there until the last car passes. You see right here. Oh, a little contact from the 24 and the 32. Man, just nothing for Ultra to do right there as far as the accident is concerned. All these cars are absolutely destroyed. As Jesse is rolling around here. He just missed the corner a little bit. And then he just a little contact from the 57. Just unfortunate that the wall's right there. He didn't have anywhere to spin.
What was call on that one? Was that a tally on the 57 or racing?
Yeah, that was a tally, 57.
Well, as we sit here, we are down to, what, I guess about 40 laps to go, 41 laps to go here when we get the green. Not a whole lot of strategy games left to be played. I think everybody's sitting here and has one pit stop, or one set of tires left in the pits for, I believe, everybody. When ideally, Jake, would you like to put this set of tires on? 20 to go, 15 to go?
Yeah, the later we run, the less and less I'm wanting to come to pit road, because we're having a caution nature here. It's seeming that's the way it's going to go. So I want to have the tires on with as much time to use them as possible. So eventually, the more laps we click off, you're really kind of making it to where you're not going to do it unless you know the entire field's going to do it.
Well, as they head for turn number 3 here, right after this restart, we've talked about all race long how, the give and take, it's all give, or all take, excuse me. Yeah, nobody's giving anything out here. Everybody's taking everything they can every time they can get an inch or two beside a guy. So
yeah, it'd be easier on all 43 cars out here if more guys would do a little bit more give. But unfortunately, that is just the nature of racing nowadays. Not just here, not just league racing, not just even on the computer, but real life. It's kind of just like go until you're told not to go anymore, and if that means you got to hit a guy out of the way, so be it, and they can get over it later. Unfortunately, I wish we could go back to some of the more respectable racing, where you get beside a guy and just because you get beside a guy doesn't mean you got to pass him right at that moment. Work him over a little bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, you mentioned not just here. I mean, just look at the Cup race, lap 1, turn 1. Ross Chastain was going to try to lead that thing from 10th, so we see it, and these guys see it in real life, and they think, okay, that's how you're supposed to do it, and they get on the sim and they do it, and it's, I in some ways I feel like the sim is harder on that stuff than we see in, on Sundays, so.
Yeah, I think everybody could benefit a little bit from going back and watching some old races, and back in the 90s, early 2000s, focus in on Mark Martin, Matt Kenseth, and that's the way you got to do it. Just if somebody's faster than you, roll over, get them back later, let them run their stuff off, and it doesn't mean you got to sit there and get yourself turned or whatever. We're allowed to give every now and again.
For sure, and I think it's a little bit of the Dale Earnhardt effect, right? Like Dale Earnhardt is remembered for being this guy who would move you out of the way and do what he had to do, which he would at times. Anybody would at times. Jeff Gordon would at times. Rusty Wallace would at times. But 95% of the time, those guys had give and take. Those guys could race each other without making contact. It's just the times that they made contact are the times that live on. It's not the other 95% of the time where they were able to run great with each other and not make contact and work together. And
oh yeah, no, definitely. When they're making contact and they're wrecking each other, that's how the TV, that's how the networks make their money and whatnot, sell the merchandise. So we need to get away from that a little bit more, and just the overall broad scope of racing, from the top all the way down to guys just starting out, guys running the computer, Cup Series, and everybody in between.
But one thing that has happened here is they've done that a little bit. It's like they've been listening. Everybody's kind of running, give each other some room, single filed out, not taking those big dives, and this will allow some tire fall off, allow to see the guys who can make long run pace have a shot later and see what happens. One thing I'm seeing is RC has already cracked, getting ready to try to crack the top 10. And he went to dead last when he had his equipment issue. And just, drove around the track real slow until he was able to get that fixed. And the fact that he's already back up this far without any kind of strategy play, any kind of nothing. He has just passed his way back, avoided the chaos, and I am telling you, if the cautions fall right, RC is a guy that they're going to have to beat here at the end. Taking a look here, he just runs that bottom so much better. He's going to get that drive off on Tyler Top. Not quite enough to get there just yet, but being in the mirror on that guy, being off to his left when he can't see you, and it's only a matter of time before he makes a mistake, misses it enough for RC to get that big run, to get that spot. And Tyler's actually going to give it up to him. Tyler just told him, I'm going to give it to you, and there it is. That's give and take at its finest. He's faster. He caught me. Tyler probably knows he went to the back. That right there, some great give and take on the racetrack.
Yeah, well, we hit on that. Josh Chen is widening his gap out from the lead over Tate Lytle.
And no surprise, Josh is probably running a little bit harder than Tate wants to right now. Jared's probably sitting there saving. Cody's probably sitting there saving. I'm curious to see what happens in 10 laps, when these tires start showing that wear, because you and I have access to the same set of tires down there on pit road that we're able to look at and see what those right sides look like. And these right sides, especially this right front, pretty abused. So that right front's going to fall off, and I've got a sneaking suspicion that at about 20 to go, we're going to see Lytle and Fody and Stanley and Burrell. They're all going to have some tire left. The question is Josh able to do this while saving just as good? Or is he leaning on that right front a little bit too hard, and he might be the Kyle Busch that we saw Sunday at the end of Dakota where it's just worn out.
He seems to be pretty smooth out here. He slides a little bit up off turn 2. But, you know, something tells me he's widening that gap. He probably is driving a little bit more aggressive than that line behind him. But we shall see here pretty soon.
And a caution throws all out the window.
Big slide out of turn 4.
If we went green to the end, it would be the longest run of the race by far. It wouldn't even be close. So, as I say that, Dustin Dewar, completely sideways. So, you know, Dustin Dewar sideways again. Dustin Dewar sideways going in the corner, sideways coming off the corner. Little jam up here. Josh Adams trying to recover. Had a little bit of a bad pit call earlier. Got himself wrecked a little bit, trying to claw his way back through there in that Stacker 2 machine. We've seen the 57 in a few incidents tonight. How's Chad Frankenfield doing? I don't even know where he's at on the racetrack, but I know he was involved in about every wreck we had in the first 50. Oh, him and Josh are a lap down. They're actually going to be racing for the Lucky Dog. He needs to get Josh to get the Lucky Dog. I think if I was Chad, I'd load this Dale Earnhardt machine up and not bring it back to the racetrack because the luck has not been good for Chad driving this Dale Earnhardt Senior machine. It's a great looking car though. I couldn't tell you who painted it. I'm sure I could give you a couple names that I would think. Do we know who paints Chad's cars?
I have no idea.
It very well could be John Cutlip. It would not surprise me if it's Cutlip. But I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't want to give the wrong guy credit. But it's a great looking car, along with Josh's car, Josh Adams' car. Great looking car. But those two machines have not had any luck here the last 2 weeks. I think it's time to load them up, put them back, and try something a little different. Maybe find a Dario scheme, because Dario Franchitti out here in this 91 machine, she's fast every week.
Yeah, they might be looking at taking those cars back to the shop, cutting them up, and just taking the pieces to Bristol next week.
Oh, we get to go to Bristol next week? Is that our next race?
Yeah, we do get to go to Bristol next week. I'm sure everybody here is thrilled to hear that news.
Well, why wouldn't we be? It's going to be great.
It's going to be fun to watch on TV.
We'll need a couple extra drinks, probably, because we'll be talking about the wrecks that we're having out there quite a bit. I don't know. Bristol lends itself to a long green flag run every once in a while. We'll see. I don't think we've ran Bristol since the new iRacing stuff has been added, and I believe Bristol either has or is soon getting a kind of a reskin, and they're going to update that track for the first time since the sim launched. I believe it was one of the original tracks, so that I did see that is on the list to be updated this year at some point, if it hasn't been already.
Yeah, speaking of iRacing builds, it will. We spoke about the last time we were at Bristol. After an iRacing build, we will have a new iRacing build next week. I believe that same day. So
fun.
I believe it's next Monday for the launch of the new build.
Man, I tell Chad every time, we need to be off on new build days, because there has been times where builds have came out and nothing's happened. Everything's worked smoothly. And I believe there was 1 week where iRacing was down for 4 days because of the new build being so messed up you couldn't use it.
Or you could always make it a no points race.
I mean, it just, racing on a build day, but we've had a lot of off weeks already. I know trucks, we missed a lot of races already. I think Monday night's the only night where we haven't had like a ton of off weeks yet, so.
So we take a look back up front. Tate's starting to chew into that lead just a little bit. It's a couple hundredths quicker than Josh that last lap.
And we saw him there on screen. RC went up and passed Wadsworth, and he's already gotten around Tooker. I'm going to tell you, RC is the guy right now.
If we happen to get a yellow, look out for that 50.
Yeah, but I think a yellow also hurts him. I think with everybody else getting fresh tire, I think RC is really good here on this longer run. So I think RC is probably wanting to get to the top 5 before that yellow were to come. I think Jared Rexing might have used his stuff up because he's got Tyler Fode all over him as well. So it's kind of a timing thing where RC wants the yellow, but I don't think he wants it yet. And a yellow brings us a whole new bag of tricks. I think we'll have some guys maybe try to stay out. I think 2 tires, looking at tire wear here on pit road, talking to some guys pre-race. Well, I think we're late enough now where 2 right side tires is going to be a viable option that some of these guys are going to try. So we will see how this all shakes out. As mentioned, Tate getting a little closer. Jared not able to close the gap with Tate. So how long does Fode sit there? We've seen Fode be pretty aggressive tonight. I think it's time to bring that aggression back. If you're going to try to win this race, you cannot sit behind the slower guy. They got a lap car out in front of them here as well.
They've been going back and forth, these top 2 on the lap times. Just that past lap, Josh Chen just a little bit quicker than Tate Lytle. Not much.
I do want to give a shout out to Jared. You know, we've talked about him a lot this season, and this is a guy that has gotten a lot better on the ovals. He was what I would consider an open wheel guy. And this season has been kind of his coming out party as far as running right up here at the front of the field. He's always been decent, you know, that right around 10th place, but whatever has happened, it has clicked for him this season, as in this series specifically. And he's a guy that I feel like talk about running at the front every single week. The 20 just recently got lapped. I believe that is going to... No, the 20 is already multiple laps down. So Josh Adams still sitting in that lucky dog spot if we were to get a caution.
It's almost a full 10th that Tate took out that last lap as we come to is it 16 to go this time. 16 laps for the 56 to figure out how to get to the back bumper and then ultimately try to make that pass.
And they got Joe Francis right out in front of him. He is the last car on the lead lap. As he is going to try to hang on to this lead lap. We'll see what he does. Does he give him the lane? He does. He just goes and runs around the top.
Now we mentioned how Rexing might be holding up the 40 just a little bit. And 56, he's got to be looking at his mirror and realize that the 40 might be a little bit quicker. And if I'm Tate, I want to try and get this pass done as soon as I can. Watching that 40 coming up behind him.
Well, you know what I noticed that the 10 is doing a really good job of? He knows that the 40 is better. The 10 is overslowing the center, making sure he gets a good launch out of the corner. And so Tyler's driving to his bumper in the middle of the corner, but it's hard to make a pass right there. You know, you can hit the guy, but if you're tight right there in the middle of the corner, all you're going to do is help rotate that car. So the 10's making sure that he gets a great launch. Something that we see a lot of at Martinsville, where it's like, hey, he's better, but I can just overslow the middle and still get that great launch up off the corner.
Oh yeah, Tate's there. He got right to the bumper in turn 3. He's going to be right there again for turn 3 this lap.
No big dive just yet. That 93 needs to make sure he's doing the same thing. If he knows that the 56 is better, make sure you get that thing stopped in the middle, get it rotated, and then launch up off.
Yeah, I think there's no question the 56 is better. See, Josh is making sure that he gets to the bottom before Tate can make a move in there. Tate's staying out by the wall a little bit longer. Josh is making sure that Tate can't make a move. Here he comes looking inside.
He's going to take a big dive down here into 3. Josh is going to back it up.
He's got to try and cross. He tried to cross him over. Contact.
Josh is going to get a good launch here. Josh is going to be able to go right back to the left of him if he wants to. I think if it's your shot to win, I think you got to send it in there. He doesn't. Does not send it in there. Tate Lytle to the lead. That might be all she wrote because I don't think Fode is going to be able to pass 2 cars right here. I think he spent too much time behind the 10. The 91's getting closer. There is a group of 3 lappers out in front of him. They might get to those lappers. The 10's really starting to slide up. The 10 is really struggling all the way through the corner at this point.
And now if you're Tyler, you got to try and go on offense. So the faster car, Tate Lytle got the lead. Tyler, he might think that he's just as quick. Well, if you're just as quick, you can't sit behind two slower cars and hope you're going to get there. We've got 10 to go this time.
Yeah, and I think Stanley, they're teammates, so they're going to be a little bit nicer to each other. But there you see Fody really working it well. The 10's really starting to push in the middle. And now, you see it. Wow, the 10 slides a little bit off of 4 that time, but not like he did the last couple times. This is the battle now as Tate in the lead.
But Josh isn't going away quietly. He's staying relatively close. Tate's had a couple slides out of the corners the last couple times, nothing major.
The question is, how nice is this lap traffic going to be?
Well, if you're Tate Lytle, you hope they're very nice. If you're Josh, you kind of hope they run in front of him and slow him down just that little bit, and you can try and pick your way back by.
I will say though, like you mentioned, Tate started kind of going away, and Ethan
I'm
Stanley a little bumper to the
now.
40.
Tate's really doing the deal where he gets down to the corner, and then he's really over slowing right at the center, and Josh is doing a really good job just painting that white line and able to have a decent run up off the corner.
And all this has brought Ethan Burrell, John Cutlip to him as Tate misses the entry into 1 a little bit. There's the 3. He's going to catch the 3 right on the exit of 2. That's going to hurt his exit speed. And now the 93 is back close enough to try to make something happen.
We saw Josh in this position at Laguna Seca. He was running down Ethan Stanley and just went a little bit too hard into turn 1 and gave up any shot to get to the back bumper of Ethan in that race. Does he learn from that and not make that little bit of a dive going here after Tate?
I'm going to tell you what's going after each other, and that's Lake Norman on Lake Norman. The 91 has been into the back of the 40, I believe. 91's been trying to find his way around. I think he's seen that Fody is struggling now. Can't get around the 10. And Stanley keeps poking a nose out, trying to make it happen. He's getting up off the corner quite a bit better than the 40.
I'm telling you, Chris, this isn't over. Josh Chin's turned it back on. Tate's struggling. He's going to be right on his bumper here. He's got 6 laps to go.
I'll tell you what, would you move him? Would you move him to win the race?
If I'm Josh, I'm thinking about the playoffs, and Tate's already moved a guy to moved a couple guys this season, and we saw Josh might have been a little upset with himself moving a guy last week at Atlanta and kind of parked his car, so maybe he won't. But
I think you got to try to move it. I think if you don't try to do everything you can to win the race, what are you racing for? Especially a guy like Josh Chin, hasn't won in this series just yet. Like you mentioned about the playoffs, the 70 is going to hang right there. That's going to hurt that Josh Chin machine to get stuck.
He wasn't able to get that straight exit up off the corner. Tate's sideways. He missed the entry to turn 3 a little bit.
The 70 is now hanging out there once again. These guys are not going to be happy that Jesse is kind of hanging out there instead of just rolling out of it completely. But Jesse's trying to run his race too, trying to make sure he stays in that lucky dog spot. Well, actually not. Jesse's a couple laps down, so I really don't. Yeah, they're really going to be upset. We are coming to 3 to go this time. Tate is out there.
Tate started to pick it up just a little bit.
But a big 3 and 4 there from the 93. I think he gained back some this lap.
Yeah, all of a sudden, the 10 car, he's right back in it. If there is any contact made, he might be in the catbird seat if the 93 can get close enough.
For whatever reason, I think Tate's a little better off of 2. But the 93 is better down here in 3 and 4.
Yeah, and if I'm better than somebody, I want to be better than they are at the corner coming to the line. I want to be trying to go forward right at the line and, have that side-by-side finish, hopefully.
Just 2 laps left here from the Milwaukee Mile. Tate didn't get off a 2 quite as good that time.
But how hard does Josh Chen throw it into this corner, knowing he's a little bit better down here? See Tate start to slide.
Josh washed up a little bit in the middle, but Josh really, there it is. Oh, he's sideways. We're spinning at the back. No caution. Matthew Weeks stays green. White flag is out.
Flag. He's going to have one more run at him. He's got to decide. It's not close enough now. He's got to decide if he wants to run in there and use the bumper.
I don't think you can use the bumper from this far back.
As far back as he is, no, he didn't get enough. Ethan Stanley way up out of the groove going into turn 3. But it's going to be all about Tate Lytle winning at Milwaukee.
That's right, Tate with Osborne. Tell you what, that was a great finish. Tate gets the W. He did just what he needed to open that gap up there the last lap and a half. Kind of took all the fun out of it for us at the end when he was able to stretch that out to about 3 or 4 car lengths. But nonetheless, Tate with the win. Josh Chen, Jared Rexing, Tyler Fode, Ethan Stanley, Ethan Burrell, John Cutlip, RC, Justin Wadsworth, and David Tooker. So I understand that Tate is in a big hurry, so we'll talk to Tate before we do our commercial break. And we are now joined by Tate Lytle. Tate, talk to us about your race. We'll let you do all the shout-outs. It's just yours for however long you can be, and then we'll wrap it up in a hurry.
Yeah, fun, crazy race. Got here late, got 0 practice, qualified 21st, ran 20th for 25 laps, and then the pit strategy kind of fell in our lap. We were able to save a little more right front than a few of those guys that we were racing, and got our 3rd in a row at Milwaukee. I don't know what about this nasty-ass track that works well for me, but we'll take it, and that's good because we have not had a very good start to the season. So we needed the win. But shout out to Brent Wednesdays Gone By, Vintage Racing Apparel. Shout out Dad if you're watching. Shout out Mom if you're watching. Happy birthday. I'll see you in like 10 minutes. And yeah, Pro Edge Racing. You guys for watching us do the fake race cars, and it was a fun race. Glad we went green there the last 40.
All right, Tate, congrats on the win. We won't hold you any longer, so you can get out there and celebrate that birthday with your mom. Happy birthday to Tate's mom, and congrats on the win, Tate. We can't wait to see you next week, and of course on Wednesday if these guys tune into the Racing Network for the Cup stuff too.
Yeah, you guys have a good one. Thanks.
Well, no one else is here just yet, so we're going to take a quick commercial break while we get our 2nd and 3rd place finishers. Stick with us, and we'll talk to Jared Rexing and Josh Chen after the break.
Since 2010, race fans have had one burning question. When will the Xfinity Series return to Worldwide Technology Raceway? You asked, NASCAR delivered. On Saturday, September 6, 2025, the magic is back. The track that launched the legendary careers of Harvick, Busch, Keselowski, Edwards, and Earnhardt Jr. is now ready to write that next chapter. We're going to introduce you to a new crop of future champions and Hall of Famers. And in the process, we'll create more of the greatest moments in racing history. NASCAR Weekend 2025, the NASCAR Cup Series Championship Playoffs, the Confluence Music Festival, and now 250 miles of the NASCAR Xfinity Series. 2 incredible races, 1 challenging track, a 3-day party of epic proportions. Go to WWTRaceway.com and lock in your weekend racing and camping packages for as little as $20 down.
And welcome back to Milwaukee for the Milwaukee 125, where Tate Lytle was your winner. Just talked to him. I believe now, standing down there on pit road, Jacob Adams has Jared Rexing here, our 3rd place finisher.
Yep, I've got Jared Rexing, 3rd place. Jared, we saw it's a pretty quiet night. Stayed right around, say, I guess the top 10 most of the night, and showed up in third place and got on the podium when it counted. So just take us through your night, how it went, the different strategies, and anything else you might want to talk about.
Yeah, it was a really tough night, tough to pass. I'm sure you guys saw that, but really the only interesting thing of the night was stayed out the first time everyone got tires and was trying to get some stage points, and maybe could have if it went green there, but when it didn't, I saw there's no way I'm going to hold them off. So I got new tires, and that was a blast driving through the field, up in the fourth lane on some of those guys with old tires. That was probably the highlight of the night. But there toward the end, once I got up to second, that caution came out, and we were all on an even playing field then, and it's just so hard to pass. Shout out to Tate. He made a fool out of me on a restart, just drove it in deep on the outside, made it stick, and cleared me and got around Josh a lot easier than I thought he would too. So not impossible to pass, but very difficult. All in all, just happy to come out of here third. I don't know if I really was the third fastest guy. It just kind of worked out that way tonight.
Yeah, well, fortunately for you, the cautions fell how they did, and the different strategies got you in third place. Looked quick out there. That this season has been the name of the game, is choosing which caution to pit and not pit on. So how difficult is that? Like you mentioned, staying on that first caution. How difficult is that to pick and choose what cautions to stay out on, or when you might want to come get your tires?
Yeah, I think the stages plays a big part into that. We didn't have the stages last season, so everyone was kind of setting up for their best finish. But with the points on the line, you saw me stay out on that first caution, and Fody and Stanley and some of the other guys. And I think that's just a move to try and get some stage points. I don't really think the amount of tires we had played a part in that. I really think it just comes down to stage racing. So it's hard. It could have went the other way, and it has. And at Atlanta, I stayed out, and I was 5 laps from going a lap down when a caution came out. So sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's just the name of the game right now.
Right. Speaking of the stages, we got you 8th in that stage there at lap 50. So great job on the third place here. And who gets this number 10 Nesquik car out on the track, and your shout outs and whatnot?
Yeah, shout out to the team, Aggressive Eagle. Gerald had a rough night. He was on the same strategy as me and got caught up in that mad dash to get around the guys with old tires. And then shout out to my wife, of course. And you guys, thank you for putting on a good show for us. And it'll be fun to watch this one back.
Yeah, well, we had a heck of a fun time calling it. It was fun watching you. Speaking of Gerald, we saw Gerald almost flipping out of turn 4 there. So hope everything checked out and he was okay. But, yep, we'll let you get out of here. Hard fought
right.
Third place, so good job there, buddy.
All right, thanks, guys. I'll see you.
All right, I have ran down here. I am with our second place finisher, Josh Chin. Josh, it's been quite a coming out party for you this season. You've came from the open wheel side of things, and I'll tell you what, you've picked up this Monday night series pretty quick. Talk to us about your night and maybe what more you needed there to hold off Tate or to pass him back there. He didn't go away after he passed you.
Yeah, I think I probably just burned it up a little bit too early trying to maintain gap. I could do that on Ethan and some of those guys, and Tate had the pace to be able to hang with and save a little bit more, and I think that was the difference that last run. Tires kind of equalized out after he got around me, and I think he was trying to preserve his tires a little bit too, which is why he didn't really pull away, and I was able to keep some pressure, but overall, a good race. Can't argue with 100-something laps led. Just didn't get the win.
Yeah, and you got to feel like that win's coming, right? Like, do you feel like that win here is coming right around the corner, and then maybe once the dam breaks, there might be a bunch coming right behind it?
Hopefully. Bristol next week's a pretty good track for me, and Indy after that. So I feel like one of those two should be a pretty good shot at the win. I just have to get through the race and execute and not burn tires off. That's the biggest thing knowing in these races sometimes when we're going to get these long runs. If I need to go or if I need to conserve a little bit, and didn't time it right tonight, but maybe get a better feel for it next week in Indy.
Well, all right, Josh, before we let you jump out of here and break down your second place finish, and like you mentioned, all those laps led and prepare for Bristol, which sometimes you got to prepare for quite a bit, prepare for all those yellows and all the damage that you're going to sustain next week going into Bristol. Everybody's going to get involved in something, but who helps get it done for you week in, week out?
Shout out to everyone, Team Hype, Power Slide, everyone, FTF, Team Conti, Bar Visuals, Dalen Bar, and just everyone that helps support the league and make it go every week.
All right, Josh, congrats on the second place finish. Like I said, I'll say it. I feel like that win's right around the corner. We've been talking about you a whole lot and Jared Rexing as well. So it's only a matter of time before you guys are able to finally to break into that victory lane. And I think once you get one, the rest will come a lot easier.
Thank you, guys.
Well, guys, we started off a little bit late tonight. We had a little bit of issues with the server and with some different things that happened. But once we got going, we had that middle part of the race that had a lot of cautions. But we ended on a long green flag run, ended pretty quick. Jake, any final thoughts from you this week or anything looking ahead to Bristol next week?
Yeah, we mentioned the early rash. I was looking at like 7 cautions here, but it seems like that's been the theme of the season. Have a lot of early cautions, and then these guys have the talent to put on a good show the second half of the race. So going forward, hopefully they can put the first half together with the second half, and maybe we'll start that at Bristol. Going away, catch Dave and I tomorrow night, the ARCA finale at Homestead. So that should be fun. And then Bristol next week.
Well, what about you, Dave? Any final thoughts from you about tonight's race and looking ahead to Bristol? And I heard Jake tell us a joke there about they're going to put it all together at Bristol. I don't foresee that at all.
I already set myself a reminder for next week for Bristol to make sure I have a couple of extra snacks on hand in case it goes long. Make sure I use the restroom before the race. It can get long, and bring some talking points would be great too. And hopefully we'll get some drivers to stop up if they drop out.
Yeah, and I'm sure we could always pull them up. Those guys love to talk. A lot of those drivers, you heard them tonight, love to talk, love to come up here and talk about their sponsors. Don't want to quite get out of the car just yet, but nonetheless, tonight was a great race. It had some bad points there in the middle, but there at the end, we got to see some tire fall off, got to see some great racing, and still looked pretty hard to pass. And we heard, I believe, Jared talk about how hard it was to pass there. So took quite a bit to pass a guy, and we saw that at the end. But nonetheless, next week at Bristol, it's going to be all about staying calm, collected. Everybody's going to get caught up in something at some point. There's nowhere to hide. The leader's going to be in traffic the whole race. After 10 laps, it's going to be just calamity. We'll have to wait and see when we get there what the line is. It's kind of never know at Bristol. We've been there, and it's been the wall. We've seen them run the middle. Even saw a time or two where the bottom came into play, and of course we'll have to wait and see if it's going to be a new scan to Bristol or same old Bristol we've been racing. Even if it's the same Bristol we've been racing, we have had some build changes since the last time we ran there to help the dynamic track and with rubber buildup. So I think it's going to be different than anything we've seen in the past. I can't wait to get there. Shout out to all our sponsors tonight that help keep this thing going. Mark Rebilas, everybody at Worldwide Technology Raceway, Blue Egg Marketing, Dave, everybody here at the Elite Racing Network, Chad himself, Jake for giving us the time here when he's the off track. Make sure you tune into the ARCA race tomorrow. I believe you said finale, right, Jake? Is that what you said?
Yeah, we've got, I believe, 4 guys going for a championship tomorrow in ARCA. So that should be fun. It'll be fun to be out there on track one more time before the new season starts. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, make sure you tune into that ARCA race. Dave's going to be out there. Jake's going to be out there. It's going to be the last race with these cars because we are getting a new ARCA car next week. I know that for sure.
We get to say goodbye to William White and send him on his way no matter what.
Yeah, how happy are you guys about that? William won't be allowed to come back.
I love William. He's a great guy, but in ARCA, yeah, he can go away.
Yeah, if I have a prediction for ARCA tomorrow, William White's my champion. I think he's won like 6 races or so. So I think he's definitely the guy to be looking at tomorrow.
Well, there you go. So make sure you tune in tomorrow. We're going to crown an ARCA champion Wednesday night. The Cup Series will be back in action from New Hampshire. That should be exciting. Thursday will be in action for the IndyCar Series. And then, of course, next week, next Sunday, we'll be back for the trucks at Pocono. And you'll have the same cast of characters next Monday, live from Bristol. So make sure you tune into the Elite Racing Network all week long. and we'll see you again 7 days from now.